What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, this will be my first video in about 8 months or so, almost three quarters of a year ago. It was last fall, that I began posting on this channel. And my last several videos that I was talking about, I was talking about warning people that this year was going to be a rough year, that pain was coming, struggle was coming, times were about to get tough, things were about to get rough for a lot of people. And that was the last thing I said before I kind of disappeared. And that's not just on YouTube, that's not just on this channel. I have spent the last 8 or 9 months in what some people would call monk mode. I wouldn't necessarily fully go so far as to say I went full monk mode, but I did spend the last, well, almost year, but 2/3 of a year, I guess, just focusing on myself, focusing on decluttering my life. I cleaned out a lot of things in my life, physical things, digital things, as well as people. Let go of a lot of unhealthy relationships, let go of people that just were taking more than they were giving. They weren't meeting me halfway. They weren't providing any value to my life. And in a lot of ways, they were simply adding more stress and more of a headache than what was even necessary, honestly. And you have to get rid of those distractions. And I will say this, the last three quarters year, one, it's flown by. It's gone by very quickly. And I think that's partly just because of my life. And, I tend to have things going on, especially as of late. But I basically completely disappeared from everyone that wasn't super close to me. I have gotten rid of all of my social media. I have no social media whatsoever. I got rid of, I mean, most of it I hadn't really used in years anyways. I still had the accounts, but I never got on them. I never posted anything. I never used them. I went through and deleted all of them. And then at the beginning of this year, I almost deleted it at the end of last year, and then I logged back in, I reinstalled it, and then I finally deleted Snapchat. That was the last social media that I had. And I simply had it because that's what majority of my friends used to message each other. And I had a lot of people on there that I had met in college and just in my young adult life that I didn't necessarily have their phone numbers or any other means of really contacting them outside of that Snapchat account. But it's gone. It is officially gone and it's never coming back. And I don't miss it. Um, I decluttered a lot of my physical life. I got rid of things that I wasn't using anymore. I cleaned out my clothes. I cleaned out my living space. I cleaned out my car, etc., to declutter my space and declutter my mind. I cleaned out my digital life. Like I said, I got rid of all social media. I also went through, cleaned out my phone, got rid of apps I'm not using. I've been going through and deleting accounts of things that I simply don't use anymore. Like, prime example, Uber Eats. The last time I Uber Eats something was like about over 3 years ago now was the last time I even used it, and that's only because it was an emergency, somewhat emergency situation, and I didn't have the ability to go out and get the food myself or go eat at the restaurant, so I ordered it and paid for it. But yeah, I mean, I don't use it regularly. I rarely do use it, and so I got rid of it along with a lot of other things. Got rid of accounts of things that I don't use anymore, canceled subscriptions that I don't use anymore, and really started to consolidate different areas of my life. And what I found from that is just the realization of how much peace that's brought me, how much freedom that's brought me. You know, and nowadays, so many people in our world, so many people, especially in my age group, I'm in my late 20s now, they live their entire life through a digital screen, through their phone screen. They live their entire life on their phones, on social media, every second of every day, constantly getting notifications about this person liked your post, this person messaged you, this person followed you, this person tagged you, whatever, this person just posted something, you need to be the first person to see it, etc., etc. And it's not a healthy environment. So many people are addicted to the needless dopamine hits that you get, whether it's from social media, whether it's from, their little Zen pouch or their vape or whatever. And one thing I've found since going through that somewhat monk mode, decluttering, disappearing act that I performed in my life is how much peace of mind it brings and how much I've become okay with lately with being bored. So many people, especially kids, but people of all ages, um, they have no ability to be bored. They have no ability to not be doing anything, right? They constantly have to have something in their hands. They constantly have to be doing something. Something constantly has to have their attention and their focus. And if not, if they go more than 30 minutes without having something explicitly to do or to focus on, they can't handle it and they start to lose it. They get moody, they get angry, they start having emotional outbursts, etc. And that's not healthy. And I've noticed since the decluttering of my life, um, that's all going away. I embrace those moments, those 30 minutes or that hour at the end of the day when I first get home from work, that time of silence, that time of peace for me to simply just reflect on the day, relax, take a shower, chill out, and just have that time to myself. Especially, in the past, 8 months, I also met and now I'm with my girlfriend. Um, it's a wonderful woman who I've been talking to, and we've been seeing each other for over 6 months now. And, I think that me going through this process as well is what helped me find her and be able to connect with her, and we're able to have serious conversations that most people can't have. And I commend her for that, for her maturity and her ability to allow me to talk about certain things and sometimes say certain things that most other people, especially my age and younger, do not have the emotional or mental maturity to be open minded enough to those discussions because they're so focused on, well, this is what I've been told. This is what I've been told I need to believe. This is what social media is pushing down my throat. This is what society is supporting. And they become very closed minded and they lose the ability to critically think. My creativity over the past, especially 6 months, my creativity has started to come back. My ideas have started to come back. Just things that I think about that I could try, things that I could do. Prime example, this YouTube channel. This is not meant to be my main form of income. I'm not trying to replace my job with this. This is a creative outlet for me to share my thoughts and my opinions and my inner world for other people to find and enjoy, and whether they agree with it or disagree with it, right? But so many people don't have the mental freedom to be able to do something like this and come on and speak their truth and speak their opinions. right? Because they're so handicapped, they're so shackled by the opinions of everyone around them and the world that they live in that they can't create or articulate any of their own. So many people are in a digital prison that traps their mind and makes them essentially a slave to society and its whims, and they shift on a dime. And that's one thing that I focused on since I've gone ghost, since I've disappeared, since I've gone monk mode. But also, I've been preparing myself. Like I said, the last several videos that I posted, I was warning people. I was telling people, look, pain is coming. Times are going to get harder. And what has happened since I posted those videos? Sorry, drink your water, folks. By the way, I'm off work. I work outside and it's the middle of the summer. It's very hot. It's 90, 100 degrees plus every day. So I'm telling you guys, if you have not drank water, drink your water, please. Stay hydrated. It is extremely important. But as I was saying, the last several videos that I was making, I was talking and I was warning people that pain is coming, right? What has happened since then? Well, we are now in another war. We're in a war with Iran that is continuing to go on. Nobody seems to know when it's going to end. The government continues to say, we're winning. We're winning relentlessly. Victory is imminent, etc. However, the price of oil continues to stay elevated. It continues to fluctuate. I checked it earlier today and it's still what I think over $80 a barrel. It went up and peaked at like 120 or something several months back. Gas prices are up. People are continuing to get laid off left and right. And not just anybody. The people that are getting laid off too are high earners. Now granted, the AI bubble, is it popping? Is it gonna pop? That's a different discussion for a different day. That's a different video. And I do think that something like that, short answer is yes. I do think the AI bubble is popping. I think we probably have another 6 to 12 months before we truly are in that and feel that for what it is. But it is going to happen. And what is that going to do? That's going to bring more pain. Like I said, we're already at war. Gas prices are elevated. Inflation's starting to kick back up because gas prices went back up, right? Everything we buy gets to us, especially me, for example. I live in the Midwest. I live in the middle of the United States. Everything I buy has to come to me on either a train or a truck. And what do trucks use? What do semi trucks use? They use fuel. They use diesel, which is also the most expensive fuel. And they use, oh, sorry about that. Just saw somebody pass me and they're getting pulled over. So that sucks for them. But thankfully, not me. God bless. Thanks for looking out for me on that one, Lord. Anyways, everything that we buy comes to us on something that takes fuel, either a plane, a train, and trains take coal, but that's still fuel, a truck, etc. So their costs have gone up, which means the cost of everything is going to go up that gets transported, and that cost is going to be reflected on us. People's grocery bills are getting out of control, out of control. People's utility bills are getting out of control. People's car payments are getting out of control. Me, prime example, um, I would really like to have a pickup truck, right? I'm a young man. I would love to have a pickup truck, but I am not going to go out and pay $700 to $800 a month for a brand new pickup truck, especially one that is more than likely going to give me a ton of issues and break down, right? But this what I'm talking about is people are being stretched like never before. And the pain is here and it's only going to continue. And people are now in fear, right? The housing market is crashing. Not everywhere in the country, But in a lot of places in the country, the housing market is crashing. It's down 10, 20% in certain markets. Gold is down what 20% of its all-time highs. It peaked at a little over 4,000 or a little over 5,000. Now it's at 4,000. Crypto, I've talked about crypto on this channel. I hold quite a bit of crypto. It is now down. Bitcoin is down what 50% from its all-time highs. XRP, one of my big holdings, is down like 70%, 75% from its all-time highs, something like that. Um, so you have different markets crashing, and the stock market is the only thing that's left. The stock market is the last thing. The job market is collapsing too. People continuing to get laid off. People that can't find a job. I have a friend of mine who he got laid off from a job, and then he went and got another job for a couple months, got laid off from that one, and then he was a day laborer for a long time, making $80 a day being a day laborer, and it took him, I would say, probably 3, 4 months, maybe a little bit longer to find another job. And it's not a great job. Like, it's not a career. It's not something I think he's looking at staying at long term. This is just a warehouse job. This is just a paycheck. This is just something to help him pay his bills. Right. And a lot of people are stressed. A lot of people are feeling it, and it's going to continue to get worse. So what have I been doing? I've been stacking cash. I've been reducing expenses. I've been tightening up my lifestyle. I've been making sacrifices. I've been reducing expenses. And I have not invested in anything in what, 7 months probably? A little over 7 months. I think the last time that I bought any sort of assets was last November, and it's currently the beginning of August of 2026 when I'm recording this video. So the last time that I bought any assets was last November. I bought a little bit of crypto, and I have not bought anything. Obviously, I'm still contributing to my 401k at my job. I'm contributing to my pension. Those are automatic deductions. I'm not going to touch those regardless of whether the market's up or down. That's just automatic investing that I'm not going to touch. I have no plan to touch. But outside of that, outside of my automatic investing into my retirement accounts through my job that they automatically take care of and match and all that good stuff, I have not been buying assets. I've been paying off debt. I've been reducing my expenses, and I've been saving as much cash as possible. Why? Because we are about to come into a time where cash is king. When times get tough, when the economy gets really tight and people are scared, cash is king. Yes. Does cash depreciate? Yes. Does cash lose value? Does the US dollar lose value over time? Yes, it does. But there are moments, there are times, 6, 7, 8 month periods, 12-month periods, 2 year periods where cash is king, where cash holds its value over everything else because all markets are collapsing. And the last thing that we're waiting on before the average normie, conformie, everyday person truly wakes up and sees what's happening and understands and gets the picture, people are already starting to wake up when they're looking at their grocery bill, when they're looking at their gas bill, when they're looking at their utility bill, when they're looking at their car payment, when they're looking at their property taxes. They're already starting to wake up. But what's really going to hit people is when their 401ks and their Roth IRAs take a nosedive. Okay, we just saw a week or two ago, South Korea, the South Korean stock market dropped by 44%. I believe it might have been in one day. It was at least over the course of a few days. The South Korean stock market dropped by 44%. Okay, we just saw the SpaceX IPO last month here in the US, and within the first couple weeks, the price had dropped by what, 50%? Things are losing value left and right. And there's going to be a point, and I said last year in one of my videos, those of us that are stacking cash, those of us that are saving our money and preparing, deals are coming and they're already starting to show up. Why? Because people are feeling the pain and people are getting desperate and they're going to continue to get desperate. And what am I going to continue to do? I'm going to continue to live frugally. I'm going to continue to work my overtime and I'm going to continue to save my money. And I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not telling you to go out and liquidate your assets. Do not go out and liquidate your Roth IRA or liquidate your 401k. I have not sold any of that. I have not sold any of my crypto. I'm down on some of my crypto coins specifically, and my overall portfolio has dropped significantly from where it was this time last year, but I have not sold. I haven't accumulated it much yet either, but I have not sold, right? So I have not secured any losses. What have I done and what should you be doing and what is smart money doing? They're accumulating cash and they're putting themselves in a position to capitalize on opportunities. And I think the next 12 to 18 months, we are going to see some serious opportunities. People are going to continue to get laid off. They're going to continue to lose their jobs. AI is impacting the workforce in certain areas, not everywhere. Not I do not believe everybody's going to lose their job in the next 5 years. I just really don't believe that. We're not in a position for that. But do I think a certain section of the economy is going to be severely impacted? I do, and they already are being severely impacted. I mean, you're starting to see, even if they're not necessarily losing their jobs due to I think part of that is simply a cover and an excuse for a lot of companies to do much needed staff reduction, getting rid of people, forcing older workers into early retirement. That's another thing is we're starting to see ageism become a severe factor in the job market again. I mean, companies are just not wanting to hire older workers. They demand more money. They are not as easy to boss around. They don't have they're not willing to give the same level of flexibility in different aspects as younger workers, right? So what are companies doing? They're getting rid of older workers. They're getting rid of people with redundant roles. They're reducing their costs. And what is that going to do? That's going to bring a lot of discomfort to those people, a lot of challenges to those people. But what else is that going to do? That's going to provide opportunities. That's going to provide opportunities for those of us that have been patient and have been waiting and are prepared. And as Warren Buffett always says, investing wealth moves from the impatient to the patient. And right now, I have been, and I'm trying to be patient. Look, trust me, I would love more than anything to go out tonight, tomorrow, and drop $1,000 or $2,000 into my crypto account and buy some of these coins that are down right now. And that might be a smart move. But what happens if if the crypto market drops another 10% or another 20% in the next month or so? Worst case scenario, prices go back up. I make money because I'm in the market, or prices continue to go down and I get a better buying opportunity and reduce my average cost. You know, people also running out buying houses right now. Why are you buying houses right now when interest rates are at still very, very high levels and they're continuing to go up? The Fed paused rates, but that's not all interest rates. Lenders, the bond market, etc., their rates are going up. We're also watching the yen carry trade being unwound live right before our eyes. This is something that people in economics have been talking about potentially happening for at least the last half decade, and we're literally watching it live. And those that have been paying attention and see things for what they are and can understand what is happening, I've never been more excited. With rampant fear everywhere around us, I've never been more excited for the next couple of years and the opportunities that it's going to present for people that have been preparing and are prepared and are preparing. And it's not too late. It's not too late. It was the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is to start is today. And the next best time after that is to start tomorrow. Just like investing, just like saving, just like growing your wealth, time, the more time that you have, the more time that you give yourself, the more time you can afford, the better the outcome is going to be. But with that being said, this is a little bit longer video. This might be the longest video that I have made so far on this channel, but I've been gone for, 8 months. So I just had a handful of things on my chest that I wanted to get off and say. And that being said, that's all I have for today. And until next time, y'all have a great one.